I'm assuming you can see my screen now. I'm starting with the stream. And before we start the stream, I would like to say a couple of things. Whenever you're preparing for an exam like JEE, you need something which is a base for your preparation, which you can rely on completely. As I've always said in my videos, you need to have something which you can, which you can trust that you have prepared completely, a material which you have completely, which you have done completely, or something which you can rely on completely. So IT is not that kind of exam where you prepare for a day and you visit a lot of links and learn different things from each of them and just call it a day. It doesn't work like that. You need to have some strategy which is designed by some people who are experienced, like an institute or something. And if you want to choose an academy as that, there's a code right on the screen. If you use that code, you'll get 10% cut on your Unacademy subscription, and which I think is a pretty good thing. Consider this as a small help from me, and without any further delay, we'll be starting with the questions now. In a broad way, there are only two methods to solve any complex number question. One is using coordinate geometry and one is using algebra. Algebra is like a very high level method. If you are ready to do all the brute force, then algebra is the right method for you. But it takes a couple of more time, but it will give you the answer. Coordinate geometry makes a question slightly simpler. And in some cases, you might have to switch between the methods too. So I'll be showing you some questions and I'll be showing you which method to use in which of the problems. And as I've already said, these questions are from my JEE paper. While discussing the questions, I'll be pointing out a couple of things which are important for you to understand while solving the questions. So just try to grasp those things. Each of this question is designed so that you'll get something from it at least. So let's look at the first question now. See, whenever you see something related to mod in the question, you have to understand that there is use of coordinate geometry in the question. Whenever you see things like this, mod of z plus half is less than half, mod of a complex number, you have to understand that coordinate geometry is definitely involved in this. So, but you might wonder that how will we convert this mod of z square plus z plus 1 as a distance between 2 points or something? And it's just basic algebra there, and you just have to do something like this, and it will give you complete description of the question. As you can see over here, this is the point P, minus 1 by 2 comma root 3 by 2, and this is the root of distance. This is the square of the distance from point P to Z, and this is given to be 1. So we'll just plot the locus on this argand plane. And from here, the question becomes very simple. And the thing is, when you'll have to do something like this, when you have to prove that z plus half is less than half, or z plus half is greater than half, as it is in this case, if you're using algebraic method, then you have to use the optimization methods. You have to differentiate, and you have to suffer with a lot of work. But if you are using coordinate geometry, then it becomes a one line. This is minus half and root 3 by 2, and origin is a point on this, and it just becomes a lot simpler because this is minus half comma 0, and the minimum distance, as you know, is this in a circle. There's a circle in this point, and minimum distance of this point from the circle is this distance. You know that, and you don't need to prove that using algebra again. These things are taken for granted, and you can directly use them in your question. And this is half, and this is 1. So you'll get it as half, and you can conclude answers from this. So the thing which you have to understand is that whenever there are mods used in the question, most likely it uses distances and all. Let us come to the second question now. This is one of my favorite questions from 2020 paper, and this is a very good question too. For a complex number set, yeah. This is given in the question. As you can already understand, they've asked minimum possible value of mod z1 minus z2 square, given that real part of z1 is greater than 0 and real part of z2 is less than 0. So it must involve corner geometry again. But this expression seems a little bit tough to evaluate in terms of corner geometry. Like what I'm saying is, if you just put z equal to x plus I and try to solve this, and it becomes a bit lengthy. So you'll have to use some clever strategy so that factorizing this becomes a bit easy. And this is what comes in handy. So, and this again comes with experience. You just have to do some questions so that you'll get familiarized with factorizing an expression, getting the locus and argument. So this is our expression, and we just from here the question becomes very simple. As you can see, at this point, z can be 0 or 4xy I equals to 4i. So xy equals to 1 or the point is 0. And then you just have to plot the graph on the Argand plane and you're done with the question. As you can see, this is the minimum distance. So questions become a lot simpler when you solve them using coordinate geometry. So because you don't need to prove that this is the least distance for a hyperbola. So always try to use coordinate geometry whenever it is possible. Only go to algebra when the question is too vague in terms of Argand plane or the locus is very tough. And again, this is a question where you have to use a lot of tricks. So and whenever you're solving a question, just remember one thing. Whenever you see a function which is not defined at some points, or it comes to be infinite at some points, you have to note those points. You have to get a view of those points, because these things will be used to trap you up, when you're solving the question. So whenever you're solving an IIT advanced question, always be aware of the domain and range of your functions. So that is a very important thing. Whenever you'll be asked about locus or something, definitely this kind of trap will be involved in it. So you have to look at the points which should be excluded. There are a couple of questions already in IIT advanced which are pretty clear in what they've asked, and they've clearly excluded the discrete points from the set, from the locus. So that you'll have to always remember that, and you have to see that Z0 can be 1. Just note it down and proceed with your question. So again, we can see a use of coordinate geometry over here. You'll just plot the circle. And you just plot the circle and you get the locus. You need to find the principal argument of this. Again, you need to find maximum of mod Z0 minus 1. So the point is 1, 0. And then you'll use this point 1, 0. And you'll find the minimum distance, and obviously the minimum distance is this. But you don't need to find this point exactly, because you only need the x and y to solve the question. And you just have to see that this thing is positive or not. That is all you have to see. And if you observe clearly, you can conclude the question without even solving it. Because you know that from the locus itself, from the point itself, you know that 4 minus 2x is positive and 2x plus 1 is positive. So you can directly confirm that minus I, and you can directly write the principal argument. So this question demonstrates that you don't need to solve complete question in the exam there. You don't need to solve the complete question. Your goal is to find the answer. You just have to use clever tricks to find the answer. That brings me to the last question, where algebra plays a major role when solving this question. If you see this question, there's no way you can solve it using coordinate geometry, especially when ABC, the variables are ABC and not omega. So this is tough to solve by coordinate geometry, and it's pretty clear from the first view itself. And you won't develop it, with 1 or 2 days of preparation. You have to solve a lot of questions, and then you'll definitely get a view of it. Yes, I did find inorganic tough, but I had a help from my teachers and all. I wrote my short notes, and it became pretty easy. So whenever you're not able to solve the question, you just have to go with brute force. ITJ is not an exam where it will test your tricks and it will test the ideas for which you have to strive for like 5 or 6 minutes. Brute force always works. It might just take 1 or 2 minutes extra because you have to bear the burden. I'm just solving this question using brute force. And this is one thing you have to learn. Not all the questions have some secret, kept inside it. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow of the question, especially when you don't have something in your bag to solve it. And you'll have to just find more for this. And when you solve this, it comes out to be half of a minus b plus b minus c plus c minus a whole square. Great, right? But if you see solutions in some book, it will be given some clever method. They'll be using some factorization which is already known to derive this. But it's not exactly required. You can just use the things which you already know to solve this question. And you'll get this as they are given to be consecutive numbers. You can just find this value. That will directly bring you to the answer. So what I'm trying to tell you is, in exam, finding the answer is the most important thing. You don't need to, find that clever tricks or something. You just have to be careful with what they're asking. You just have to be, focused enough so that you can give the right answer. And sometimes you have to do the brute force. And this is all about the questions which are planned to tell you. Now we can do the Q&A session if any one of you can ask some questions. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys can ask some questions in the chat, I'll be able to answer them. Yes, I did find my inorganic chemistry very tough. As I've already said, inorganic chemistry is tough. But it's not like he can't do it. Yeah, at least to do it. But thank you, Sanjay. And there's one thing with inorganic chemistry. If you think that you're weak in inorganic chemistry, you always will be. So don't be afraid of inorganic chemistry. Just go into the field and start fighting. It's not like you have to do inorganic chemistry for whole of your life. Just do it for 2 years and get done with it. And always consult your teachers whenever you feel that you're weak in organic chemistry. They'll be able to help you. They'll be giving you some tips, or they'll be giving you some strategy for you to prepare. Like you may have to write your short notes, you may have to read something else. So follow them blindly when you're not good at something. So I think this brings to the end of the video. Uh, I did my coaching from Nara. And I'm answering this in English because other people can understand too. I think this marks the end of the video because there are no other questions from any of you. Yeah. So I'm ending the stream. So and before we end the stream, if you find the stream useful, like the video, subscribe the channel, and share it with your friends. And stay safe. Bye.